What's up guys, welcome back to Fantasy Goldfish Fanatics. Today we're going to be shooting another DIY episode, so make sure you stay tuned to find out more. Hey Fanatics family, welcome back. As always, check out the links in the description and make sure you check out the brand new website. As I said, today we're going to be doing another DIY episode, and this time it's going to be outside. So I actually got a brand new tank. Well, brand new for me, it was a used one. So I was planning to clean it up in this video, but later on in the video you will find out, unfortunately, that's not going to be possible. So this video is going to go in a slightly different direction. But for now, I'm going to take you outside and we're going to check out the brand new tank. So as you can hopefully see, this is the tank that I actually got. So I actually got this one for free, which was a result. And also it came with this canister filter by aquarium. So that was really good. Unfortunately, I was on my own, so I managed to get it all the way out of the car. Well, I managed to load it into the car with the other guy that helped me. Got it all the way home, unloaded it, got it all the way from the car at the front of the house, all the way around to the garden, and just as it came through the shed, it had these brace bars on it, just here. So these brace bars were over the tank, just like this, and I was lifting it by the brace bars because that was the easiest way. And unfortunately, it was about 5 inches from the ground in this spot as I was about to put it down, and the middle bar just snapped. The tank dropped, and maybe if I zoom just down there, you can see it just smashed the corner and it's just split all the way across. Then I got glass in my hands as well, so that was really annoying, but luckily it was for free, so nothing lost really. So what I was hoping to do was to start taking all the rims off the tank, giving it a good clean up, and then I was actually going to use this for quarantine tank in the future, take the background off, put a new background on, etc. So that's what this video was actually for. It also came with a light unit, which I was going to get rid of anyway, and some pipe work. So unfortunately we won't be doing the video on this tank makeover, and I'm just going to have to break it up probably and throw it away somehow. It's quite an old tank anyway, the silicon's not amazing on it, it's quite old, so not all is lost. At least we've got this canister filter just here. So I haven't even opened this up yet, but what I'm planning to do this video is I'm going to open up the canister filter, show you what media's in it, and then we're actually going to clean and disinfect the media. So you guys can do similar at home if you buy a second-hand filter, and I'm going to show you how you can disinfect it so it's safe for your fish. There will be no chances of any parasites or pathogens getting through either. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move the tank out of the way, open up the filter, and we can have a look inside it. I thought we'd do this part in front of the fish, so at least you've got them in the background. Sorry the glass is so dirty. With the sunlight we've been getting, it just goes green so quickly. But yeah, onto the filter. So we're going to start taking it apart and having a look at what's inside this canister filter. Maybe this will be good for a quarantine tank, as I said, in the future if I get more fish, or I should say when I get more fish, that's more likely. So we've got got quite a bit of water in it still, so let's see what we've got. So I'm hoping it's got some media that we can clean, otherwise this video is not going to be very good. So I see we've got some filter fleece, really rubbish, filter sponge. It's all really clean in here. Someone must have given it a good clean, so maybe I don't need to do that. What else we got? Okay, so we got some bio balls in the bottom. So little tip, these bio balls I say are rubbish. They've got little to no surface area. This sponge has got far more surface area on it than these bio balls. If you stacked these bio balls in this circle by the width, this would have significantly more surface area, and this is sold as mechanical and this is sold as biological, so it makes no sense to me. So if you're going to buy extra biomedia for your filter, I wouldn't bother with these cheap plastic balls. Get something like the Biohome or some sintered glass media, some Alpha Grog, Lava Rock, something like that. Something still fairly cheap. I know the Biohome isn't cheap, but like the Lava Rock and the Alpha Grog is really cheap. So if you're going to go for a budget option, definitely go for those. So we've got those 2 sponges, and then here we go, perfect. So we've actually got some ceramic noodles. So luckily we had those, otherwise this video wouldn't be turned out into anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean these up, and I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to do it, because now luckily we've got lots of media, so we can actually fill up that dual filter. So that gives me some extra media, which is really good. So what I'm going to do is, there are 2 different methods you can use to clean this. So what we'll do is we'll probably put these in the blue bowl, maybe, yeah, maybe a different bowl, something that's not going to get stained. So there's the media. So the first choice we can use is potassium permanganate. Now this is a really strong treatment you can use for trichodina and costia. This one's just from Kasuri, but I really don't like to use this unless you've got a redox meter, otherwise known as an AWP meter, to measure the amount of potassium in the water, because this is deadly if slightly overdosed, and you don't need much. This tiny bag, 250 grams, how much does that treat? So this is 250 grams, 6.8 grams treats 4,500 litres. So that means in this whole tank I'd need about 1.5 grams if I was to treat these fish. So you really don't need much at all. That's how strong this is, and it is an oxidizing agent, and it does suck the oxygen out of the water. However, it is really good at sterilizing pieces of equipment and media. So the first thing we could use is this. It is also very cheap and very cost effective. This bag, if you were just sterilizing things, would last years and years, and it just lasts. It doesn't break down into anything harmful, and if you're only using it for sterilizing, it's good chemical to have in the cupboard. Now another way is to use bleach. Now this is definitely gonna scare most of you listening. Bleach, but that will kill my fish. Yes, it will if you don't use it correctly. Now I'm just going to go and grab the bleach now, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. So now I've got the bleach, which is this right here. So you can get this, so this is 32p I think from Morrison's for 2 litres. Now Asda do one, so does Tesco's. They all do this value super cheap thin bleach, and this is what you need. It needs to be thin bleach, and when you look on the back, where is it? Here we go, sodium hypochlorite. That is the only chemical within this, and that is all you want. You need pure bleach with nothing else, no scents, no added extras, just pure bleach, because this is basically pure chlorine. So what we do is we pour a good glug of this, maybe 1/4 to 1/5 of the bottle, just to be sure. So we'll pour that into a bucket just like this one here. So I'm going to use this bucket here, just an old salt bucket. So what we'll do is we'll pour all this media into the bucket, then we'll pour about 1/5 of the bleach in, and we'll let it sit for about 5 minutes. Then we will fill up just above the media, so probably about this much water, which will be boiling or really hot water, and then we let that sit for as long as possible, really. Probably 20 minutes will be ample time. Then what we do is we pour all of that water away. We then rinse the media, so we'll fill it up the bucket again with just fresh water, give it a rinse around and pour it out. Then comes the crucial step. So the crucial next step is dechlorinating that media, because that media will have toxic chlorine, and if we put that into our tanks we will kill everything, most likely. So what we need to do is dechlorinate it. Now you can use a dechlorinator like Aquasafe or Prime, something like that, but that's going to be really expensive. And so what I recommend is, this isn't, obviously this is Tetra Pro Color, but it's not actually in there, is sodium thiosulfate, which hopefully you can see here is a form of crystal. So it's a chemical, and what it does, it breaks down chlorine and forms ammonia. So now you might be thinking, hang on, if this breaks down chlorine, why can't I use this as a dechlorinator? And yes, you can use it as a dechlorinator, and this is actually what I use. Well, not this, but the sodium thiosulfate is what I use as my dechlorinator, and it is extremely cheap compared to on the market dechlorinators. This amount, probably 400-500 grams. So this tub here is, I'd say, just off the top of my head, is probably the equivalent of 20 litres of Aquasafe, maybe even more. This 400 grams probably costs about £3, and in Aquasafe, I don't know what that is, probably 200, something like that. This really does go a long way. But because we want to be safe, what we'll do is we'll pour probably a third of this, maybe even half of this, into the media with the water, so it really makes sure there's no chlorine in there, and you can smell it and you won't smell any chlorine at all. And then if you otherwise, what you can do, you can rinse it out, and then you can just let the media dry out in the sun, leave it outside for a few days and let all that chlorine gas off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the media in the bucket, and then we can start decontaminating it. So now we've got the chlorine in the ceramic noodles, or the bleach I should say. So now we're going to let that sit for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to fill that. I can smell it already. Smell something's coming off that, lots of dirt. It smells a bit funky, that. So we'll let that sit for 5 minutes, then I'm going to pour hot water in just above the media. Yeah. So it's been 5 minutes now, and I've filled up with water, so it's just covering the media. Little top tip, make sure you don't get any splashes on your clothes, because it will ruin them, and you will get like pink spots or spots on your clothes where the bleach has just destroyed the colour. So that is a little top tip. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave this for about half an hour, and then we'll rinse it all out, and then I'm going to add the sodium thiosulfate, so the crystals. I'm going to add those onto the, so they look like that. Oh, I'm just going to add those onto the ceramic noodles once I've rinsed them all out after the half an hour's up, and then they will be lovely and clean. I'll probably just let them dry out then, and then they'll be ready to put into the filter. So I will see you in half an hour.
One eternity later.
So it's been half an hour now. What I did, I rinsed all the noodles out, all the ceramic rings, and I've actually put some fresh water in there. You didn't really need to see me rinsing it out, it's pretty simple. So this has just got fresh water in it now, and what we're going to do is we're going to add some of the sodium thiosulfate. So I'm going to show you how much I'd add probably to these. So yeah, you could do 2 lids full like that. I'm just going to do 1 because I trust it really, and I'm not going to be using these for a while, so they'll have plenty of time to dry out anyway. But I'd use probably 2 lidfuls just to be safe. That's probably about 20p's worth of sodium thiosulfate, maybe 50p's worth. Now just let that sit for about 5 minutes. So the good thing about using the sodium thiosulfate and the bleach method is it's really, really cheap, and it doesn't just apply to equipment and also filtration media. You can also use this on your ornaments, your fake plants, rocks, things like that, and it makes them look absolutely brand new. So if you've got some fake plants that are actually covered in algae, you're sick and tired of scrubbing it all off and it doesn't really work, then the best thing to do is sit them in a bucket like this, put them in there, pour the bleach over, 5 minutes, fill up to the top with boiling water, wait half an hour, empty it out, rinse it out with fresh water, fill it back up, add the sodium thiosulfate, mix it all around, and then you should have some brand new plants. So what I'm going to do now, as I said, I'm just going to let those sit there. As you can hopefully see, they are sparkling white now from the bleach. So I'm going to rinse those out once the sodium thiosulfate is done its job, and then they'll be ready to use. So also another thing is, if you are using the sodium thiosulfate, you can use it as a dechlorinator, but I will cover that in another video on my budget dechlorinator, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. I'm finished up out here, so I'm going to catch you back inside. So I hope this video has been helpful. Maybe it's given you some new ideas on how you can clean your brand new media and how you can go about cleaning equipment and pieces of filtration, etc, etc. So hopefully that's been an enjoyable one. You may also notice now we are only doing 2 videos a week, so there will be a video on the Wednesday today and also a video on Sunday. So that's a little update for you. I think I mentioned that in a previous video. In the next video, we're actually going to be checking out the Daphnia tank, seeing if they survived, fingers crossed, and checking those out basically. So I'd like to thank you all for watching. Remember to keep those water changes up, and happy fish keeping.